My name is Maya. I'm 24, and for the past 6 years, I've been living a quiet kind of hell. My own mother has been sabotaging every relationship I've ever had. It started when I was 18. I brought home Eli, my college boyfriend, sweet, soft-spoken, studying to be a social worker. My mom, Diane, met him at the door in a silk wrap dress she usually saved for date nights with her yoga instructor. She hugged him so long, I thought she'd fuse to him. "Oh, Maya," she purred, "you never told me he had those eyes." At dinner, she laughed at all his jokes like he just won a Nobel Prize, touched his forearm every time she passed the bread. Later, she told me, "He's cute, but honestly, a little plain for you." Classic Diane. First she flirts, then she plants doubt. Meanwhile, she's sliding into his DMs. "Just checking in. How's my girl treating you?" Or, "You seem like the kind of man who appreciates real conversation." 3 boyfriends later, Ryan, Mateo, and Jonah, all gone. Not because they fell out of love with me, but because they got tangled in her web of concerned mother manipulation. Then came Tyler. He was a 3rd grade teacher with a laugh that made my shoulders relax. We'd been dating 4 months when I finally invited him to Sunday brunch at my mom's loft in Denver's Reno district. Diane answered the door in stilettos and a white jumpsuit that probably cost more than Tyler's monthly rent. "Well, hello, handsome," she said, pulling him into a hug that lasted way too long. During brunch, she asked him about his charming little classroom, complimented his strong hands, and when I went to refill the mimosas, leaned in and whispered, "Emma never brings anyone this presentable." When Tyler left, he looked shaken. 2 weeks later, he showed me texts from my mom. "You deserve someone who truly sees you. Let's grab coffee, just as 2 adults who care about Maya." "I don't want to hurt you," he said, voice breaking, "but this feels wrong." I cried for hours, not just for losing him, but because I realized if I didn't do something drastic, I'd be alone forever. So I hatched a plan, a fake boyfriend. Not just any guy, someone immune to Diane's charms, someone who could play the game better than she could. That's when I thought of Leo Chen. We'd been theater buddies in college at CU Boulder. Leo was magnetic, tall, sharp-eyed, with a smile that could melt ice. And he was proudly, unapologetically gay, living with his partner, Raphael, in a cozy bungalow in Berkeley. I texted him the whole saga. His reply? "Oh, honey, this isn't a crisis. This is a performance. When do we start?" We met at a coffee shop in Cherry Creek. Leo sipped matcha like a villain plotting world domination. "Goal?" he asked. "To make her obsessed with you so she stops ruining my real relationships." "Perfect," he said. "I'll be charming, attentive, and utterly unavailable." We crafted our backstory, reconnected through mutual friends. 2 months in, very serious. Leo would flirt just enough to hook her, but always loop back to me with loving glances and hand squeezes. 2 weeks later, I brought him to brunch. Diane opened the door and froze. Leo extended his hand. "You must be Diane. Maya talks about you constantly." "And you must be Leo," she breathed, eyes wide. "She didn't mention you were this striking." Over avocado toast and mimosas, Leo was masterful. He asked about her modeling days in the 90s. Yes, she modeled. Complimented her timeless bone structure, and crucially, kept his hand on my knee under the table. "You're so lucky to have such a radiant mother," he said, squeezing my thigh. "But honestly, Maya outshines her." Diane glowed. For the first time, she was competing and losing. The next day, she texted Leo, "Hope brunch wasn't too chaotic. Would love to hear your thoughts on that new art exhibit." Leo showed me every message. He replied with polite vagueness. "Maya and I are swamped this week, but thanks for thinking of me." Diane escalated. Showed up at my apartment with leftover tiramisu. "Just for Leo," she said, batting her lashes. Stayed for 2 hours asking about his skincare routine. 6 weeks in, she called me sobbing. "Maya, I think I'm falling for Leo." My stomach dropped. "He looks at me like I'm seen," she whispered. "I think he might feel the same, but he's staying with you out of guilt." I called Leo. He grinned. "Perfect. Set up a family meeting. Let's end this." Saturday night, my tiny Denver apartment. Diane arrived in a sequin mini dress, hair blown out, clutching a bottle of Veuve Clicquot. Leo greeted her warmly, sat us in a triangle of tension. "Patricia," he began. He'd started calling her by her full name to unsettle her. "It's Diane," she corrected, smiling. "Right, Diane," he said gently. "You're stunning, intelligent, magnetic." Her eyes lit up. "But I'm completely, madly in love with Maya." Her smile faltered. "And I'm gay." Silence. "I've been with my partner Raphael for 4 years. Maya and I are friends. We pretended to date because you've been sabotaging her real relationships for years." Diane's face cycled through shock, rage, humiliation. "This is a sick joke," she hissed. "No," Leo said calmly. "It's a mirror." She stormed out, bottle in hand, though she didn't throw it, just slammed the door hard enough to rattle my succulents. For 3 weeks, radio silence. Then my aunt called. "Diane's telling everyone you humiliated her because you're jealous of her youth and beauty." But here's a twist. Her story didn't hold up. If Leo was just a friend, why was she so embarrassed? If she'd been just being nice, why did she send him photos from her Pilates class in a sports bra? Family members started asking questions. The narrative shifted. 6 months later, I met Daniel, a civil rights lawyer who laughed when I told him the whole saga. "So you weaponized a gay theater kid against your narcissistic mom? Brilliant." When I introduced him to Diane, she tried her old tricks. Daniel redirected every question back to me, touched my hand, called me my favorite person. By dessert, Diane looked defeated. We got engaged last year. At the wedding, Diane gave a surprisingly sweet speech, then caught the bouquet and winked at Daniel's single cousin. Some things never change, but here's what I learned. You can't fix a narcissist, but you can protect your peace. Leo didn't cure my mom. He showed her that her tricks don't work on everyone. And that was enough. Now I have a husband who adores me, a life free from sabotage, and a gay best friend who still texts me, "Need me to play boyfriend again? Raphael says I owe you." And my mom? She's obsessed with being Grandma D to our daughter. Turns out, babies don't care how pretty you are. They just want love. And for the first time, she's giving it without competing.